So, Charlie, this turnout was so big in Wisconsin that those Milwaukee polling sites ran low on ballots. I mean, for a state Supreme Court race, which kind of blows my mind. I don't know that any of us have ever seen anything quite like that. But while elections in Wisconsin do tend to be close, this wasn't close at all. Susan Crawford won by 10 points.
Yeah.
So as someone who knows Wisconsin better than most, what's your big takeaway?
Yeah.
And can Democrats replicate what happened there elsewhere?
Well, they ought to pay very close attention because, as you point out, I mean, almost all the elections in Wisconsin are decided on a razor's edge. This was a blowout. This was a landslide. And it was a big turnout election. 2.4 million voters turned out in a spring election. And frankly, that's part of the unforced error of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, because ultimately they turned this into a referendum on Donald Trump's first 100 days in office. They turned this into a referendum on Elon Musk. So there's really no way to put lipstick on this from the Republican point of view. This should have been competitive. Brad Schimel was a strong candidate. He'd run statewide before. He's a former elected attorney general of Wisconsin, and to be blown out by someone who's never been on the ballot before statewide is extraordinary. And I think as you look back at this race, you realize that everything that Elon Musk tried to do backfired. He tried to turn out Trump voters. He ended up mobilizing Democrats. You look at the trend lines all around the state, and this is a state, again, that Donald Trump won just in November. But in virtually every area of the state, the electorate moved to the left, toward the Democrats. So I think that the fact that you have this vote at a time when Elon Musk is driving the Republican agenda. I mean, keep in mind that people went to the polls to vote as they were reading stories about the attack, the assault on Social Security and Medicare, the cuts in healthcare. They're going to the polls as Elon Musk becomes one of the loudest voices saying, we need to impeach judges who rule against Donald Trump. And this was top of mind. And what you saw was a very stark verdict, a repudiation of all of that. So this is humiliating for Elon Musk, but it's a real message to all the Republicans in Washington, including in the White House. And by the way, we're getting this story now out of Politico that Trump is telling his closest advisors that Elon Musk is going to leave pretty soon.
We have this, Charlie, and I want to go to that breaking news. The word that Elon Musk will be leaving his government role in the coming months, according to President Trump himself. Let me bring in Garrett Haake. I mean, a lot of people might look at this and say, last night, terrible for Republicans. We've seen the polling on Elon Musk. But tell us what we know about what appears to be a decision.
Well, Chris, I hate to argue with a breaking news banner here, but I think this might be less than meets the eye. What we have here is an alignment of public statements and private statements from the president and Elon Musk about how and when his tenure in and around the federal government might be ending. That is supposed to be at the 130-day mark, which is when his term as a special government employee would run up. That is, by most counts, something that happens in late May. Now we're learning, as confirmed by my colleague Gabe Gutierrez, that the president did discuss this possibility privately in a cabinet meeting that was later opened to cameras back on March 24th. That's a little more than a week ago, suggesting that Musk's work may be wrapping up soon and that this may be something where he would be returning to the private sector. The president has said the same thing publicly as recently as Monday, suggesting that, again, the work at Doge may be the kind of thing that Musk could take a step back from in the not too distant future. I think the confluence here of this special election in Wisconsin, which has drawn a lot of attention to Musk's political role out in the country and the struggles some of his businesses have had in his relative absence, combined with this, eagerness to see sort of what's next from Doge, both from Republicans who are kind of tired of defending it and from Democrats who are exhausted by its efforts, have created a lot of interest in Elon Musk's future, which I don't think is any especially clearer today than it was yesterday, except there does seem to be a focus on the fact that his work can and should and perhaps politically must end sometime in the not too distant future, perhaps just in these next few weeks between now and the end of May.
All right, Garrett, if you have anything else that might be a little clearer, which is always a question in this administration.
Chris, the only thing I can add that's clear is the White House, I can tell you, has just come out to basically deny the substance of this reporting, calling the scoop that undergirds it garbage, and basically saying that even the president and Elon Musk have publicly made this statement. So I think what we're talking about now is a timeline of the next couple of weeks between where we stand at the beginning of April and where this 130-day clock probably runs out at the end of May. There seems to be widespread agreement that by the end of that clock, Elon Musk's role in the federal government will be different. But where we land on that calendar, I think, is still a target of a lot of reporting efforts around Washington.
Well, I think it's interesting, Simone. There had already been a headline in the Wall Street Journal today saying that the MAGA backlash arrives. Democrats sought to make the race a referendum on Elon Musk, and Donald Trump and Mr. Musk responded by trying to mobilize the Trump voters who tend to stay home in spring elections. The Democratic bet paid off. What we're hearing, what's reportable from NBC News, they're confirming, a senior White House official, that President Trump did tell cabinet members Elon Musk would be leaving government in the coming months, and that was a bit ago. What do you make of this?
Well, look, a couple weeks ago, and I can't believe we're only a couple weeks into this administration. It feels like months. A couple weeks ago, Trump allies and people who work in the White House were saying, oh, they think Elon Musk is here to stay. You know, I know a lot of Republicans who are connected to the White House, and they were all strategists who were all saying the same thing. Oh, no, they like the work that he's doing. I think he's going to stick around for a while. So I do not agree with the fact that this timeline was running out, but I also know that this administration that hasn't necessarily adhered to the law, you know, they're playing kind of loose and fast, in my opinion, with the deportations, with what DOJ is doing with these agencies. So the idea that, oh, his 130 days is up, he has to go, is kind of like, I'm sorry, I don't believe that.
Just to remind people, that's the amount of time a quote-unquote special government employee can serve, right?
You know, when I worked in the White House, it was about 180. So I think that, you know, again, it's very convenient. What we do know is this is a fact. Tesla's prices in terms of what they've sold dropped 13%. This is the biggest drop that they've had in 3 years.
In the first quarter.
In the first quarter in 3 years. They sold 50,000 less cars than they've sold. His dealerships are being targeted by these Tesla takedown rallies. Not to mention, a couple weeks ago, he did have a launch that was scheduled in Florida. And that launch, it was unsuccessful. It blew up. That was a couple weeks after the first one blew up. His companies aren't necessarily doing too well. And so if I'm Elon Musk and I didn't win this election last night, I'm ready to go. My question, though, is, Chris, will Elon Musk, the fact that he was not successful with his efforts in Wisconsin, does this mean that Republicans are going to be willing to, you know, buck up a little bit more? They have all said privately that they have been scared about the money that Elon Musk would spend in a primary against them. Well, Susan Crawford had a $20+ million spent against her.
Around, yeah,
$25 million, and she was successful. She took him head on. So this makes me wonder, Tom Tillis, who's up for election in 26, Republican in a purple place, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's red, in North Carolina, is he going to be willing to maybe stand up with his back a little bit straighter now because he's seen the tea leaves in Wisconsin?
So can you, Charlie, is there a risk for Democrats in reading too much into these results? I mean, this was a party that needed a boost. This was a party whose, I think the last poll I saw, approval rating was somewhere around 27%.
21 is low.
Yeah.
21%. Okay. Let's just say that's not good. Are they reading too much into this, or is this an opportunity? Is this an opening? Is this maybe something that would have the White House thinking twice about Elon Musk? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, first of all, hope is always better than despair, isn't it? So I think they ought to cling to this at least for this news cycle. And
yeah,
look,
energy is always better than sitting at home and putting your head under the covers if you're a political party.
Well, exactly. And I don't believe in coincidences and the fact that Elon Musk is humiliated in Wisconsin and the next day we start to get leaks that, well, he's on the way out anyway. I mean, Donald Trump hates nothing more than losers. He hates losing and losers. The problem is, so I'm seeing a lot of this as a little bit of you know, ass covering going on in the White House, trying to distance themselves from this fiasco. But Elon Musk is going to be
we say
difficult.
CYA. Okay.
Okay, so well, then I'll put it this way: that I think that Trump is going to find that it's a little bit more difficult to scrape Elon Musk off his shoes because Elon Musk likes the limelight. He likes the celebrity. He likes being co-president. He has a cult of personality of his own. He is still the world's richest man. So it's not like he is going to go quietly into the night. But it's interesting that we are getting this kind of spin coming out of the White House that no, we're almost done with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a very heavy political boat anchor right now. He turned out to be an anvil to the Republicans. And yes, Republicans all around the country, including people like Thom Tillis, have to be nervous about this because they know how it's going to play and it's not going to get any better, particularly after we have the trade war. And you see that it's showing up in the marketplaces. But I also think that in the White House, this is going to mean that Elon Musk's influence, I think, is going to have a big question mark over it. Is he going to have the kind of clout and the kind of sway with Donald Trump that he had before? Donald Trump has no loyalty to anybody, including Elon Musk. And if he thinks that Elon Musk is a liability, which he is, then I think we're going to have trouble in paradise.
Well, it seems observationally that Elon Musk has enjoyed this white hot spotlight. Let's see if he's willing, if asked or told, to go quietly into that good night.